welcome to another Stamp with Amy K YouTube Live. And today, of course, a mess like usual. And my darn phone went live, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not even close to ready. But hopefully we are all here. And yeah, hopefully it's all set up. And I'm going to look and see. Hopefully I'm live, actually. Yep, looks like it's live and running out on YouTube. So thank goodness I'm hopefully in the right spot and hopefully at the right time. So today we're going to make a fun little card with the Friendly Seagulls stamp set. This is one of the free items that you can get during Celebration from Stampin' Up! With an order of $60 or greater, which is an awesome deal. You know, everybody loves free. And you might as well get something free since we're all going to order some good crafting goodies anyway. So, hey, Judy and Sally, thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. So this is a card we're making, just kind of a fun one with the cute little seagulls on it. And I know the seagulls, I've seen a lot of people fussy cutting them and whatever. And fussy cutting is not my thing. So I planned and designed a card so that I wouldn't have to fussy cut anything on it. So hopefully you like it. Like I said, it's just kind of a fun little design and it's pretty quick to put together. So hey, Pam and Victoria and Tracy, glad that you're here. So this is the stamp set. Again, it is available for free. I see Judy and Marilyn have hopped in too. Thanks so much for joining. It's available for free with an order of $60 or greater during Celebration, which runs through the end of February. So again, any order of $60 or greater from Stampin' Up! This is one of the options that you can pick from. I think there are, I don't know, 9 or 10 or something like that, $60 level items. And there's designer paper, there's an embossing folder, there's some ribbons, some embellishments, but yeah, all sorts of good stuff. But this is one of the free options. So I see Gwen and Deborah and Roxanne are here as well. All right. One thing that I did use on this is the Stylish Shapes dies, which I use this. This is kind of my go-to die set. I use it for kind of everything. So it's one of those, it's from the annual catalog. If you don't have it yet, go grab it because you're going to want it. It's great for sentiments, images and sentiments, whatever. It's just a good die set to have. The little dashed lines cut both sides. So if you want to do something with the negative piece that you've cut out, it'll put the little stitch line around the negative pieces as well. So it's an awesome die set. If you don't have it, you're definitely going to want it, so go grab it. All right. I see Jennifer and Dee Dee and Danette. I don't know if I said hi to you earlier. And Carol, thanks for joining today. Couple things before we get going. Online exclusives, make sure that you are checking those. Stampin' Up! Just released at the beginning of, well, the 7th of January, a new set of online exclusives. Those are the ones, some of the online exclusives are on the flyer on the right. Some of the previous online exclusives are on a flyer on the left. This is just a very small sampling of the online exclusives, so make sure that you are getting out there. Anytime you're out shopping, click on that little button in the upper right that says, or upper left, I'm sorry, that says menu, and then go to the online exclusives and just go take a peek at all the stuff that's out there because, I don't know, there's pages and pages of awesome products. Not in any catalog. They're only available while they're available, not tied to any catalog. So they kind of come and go. So if it's something that you see out there that you like, go ahead and grab it. All right. Let's get going on the card. So, hey, Laura, thanks for joining today. It starts with a thick, basic white card base, and this is just a standard card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 in the middle. And I used a couple pieces of the Country Woods Designer Series paper. This is one of those papers from the current annual catalog. And yeah, I'll probably use liquid glue. I was going to use Stampin' Seal because that's what I used originally to put the card together, but I don't know. I'm afraid that while I'm on screen, because I get to yakking sometimes and not paying attention where I put things, I'll want to wiggle it around and then I won't be able to. So either Stampin' Seal or multi-purpose liquid glue to adhere the piece of Country Woods Designer Series paper. This piece of paper is about 1 1/4 by 5.5 inches, so it should cover the entire card front and then just the top section of it. So I've got my score line up here that I can see, but I'm sure you probably can't on the video, but it's there, trust me. All right. Hey, Karen, no worries. And Bonnie and Debbie, thanks for joining today. Oh, high of 4 degrees. It's cold here in New Jersey, too. I think our high is supposed to be 20 or something like that. Tomorrow, I think the high is 17. So, yay for cold weather. All right. Got another piece of the Country Woods Designer Series paper. This one measures about 2 3/4 inches by 5.5 inches. And then I've got a little strip of early espresso cardstock, because that's one of the colors in the Designer Series paper, that measures about 3/4 of an inch. It can be really any size that you want it to be, by about 5.5 inches. And we're going to adhere that to the back of this piece of Designer Series paper with a little bit of Stampin' Seal. So, hey, Debbie. Debbie times two, I guess. Both Debbies, glad that you're here. What I wanted when I stuck these together is I wanted about 1/4 of an inch sticking out of the early espresso cardstock. So what I've done is I'm lining it up here relatively straight on a grid line. And then I'm going to take my Designer Series paper and we're going to line that up on the next line down. There's 1/4 of an inch apart. So I've got it lined up here, and that should give me 1/4 of an inch kind of straight across, and I'll just squeeze the two together to make sure they're stuck down well. So I do love the Stampin' Up! Grid paper because it's awesome to be able to line stuff like that up pretty easily. And I apologize, of course, because I started talking, my nose starts running. All right, going to take a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue here. And again, Stampin' Seal is what I used to put my original card together, but I chickened out trying to do that on camera. Sometimes I don't always get things stuck down straight, and then there's ripping off and, you know, all that sort of thing. So I'm using my least favorite adhesive, which is the liquid glue, and trying not to stick my fingers all over in it while I line it up here on the card front. Sticking it down here in the corners, and then trying to get my fingers out before I glue them to the card front. Whoop. All right, and there we go. I think we've got it pretty well lined up here. Just wiggling it over just a hair because I could see a little peak of white on that side. So that's the good news about liquid glue, is you do have a little bit of wiggle time. But the bad news sometimes is that you have a little bit of wiggle time and then stuff goes all sorts of haywire. So, all right, so that's our card front. It's basically thick basic white with a couple of pieces of the Country Woods Designer Series paper and a little bit of early espresso cardstock. So pretty quick and easy so far. Next thing that I did was I took some linen thread, and I'm getting down there on this spool of linen thread, so I'm hoping there's enough to finish this card, and if there's not, I have another one right behind me, so I'll dig it out of the drawer quick. But I wrapped the linen thread around the card front twice, and then chopped it with my paper snips. And I'm just going to tie it kind of as far over to the left as I can get it. So just going to tie a little bow over here, because the main panel takes up most of the card front. So when I tie bows with linen thread, I usually will tie a knot first, because the knot gives me kind of this is why I usually tie the knot first, because sometimes I struggle a little getting the linen thread to stay put and to be in the spot I want it to be in. Usually if I tie the knot first, I can kind of get it, the linen thread as tight as I want it to be, and then tie the bow to make it look pretty. So, all right. And with linen thread, it doesn't get too thick with a little knot underneath it. Ribbon, you probably wouldn't want to do that because it probably would get a little bulky if you put a knot under it. So, all right, snip off the little excess here, hopefully. There we go. Grab the other one. There we go. Okay, trim that off. So, hey, Daryl, thanks for hopping in. Super cold is not fun. Most definitely. Current 8 degrees with a -12 overnight forecast. We're not quite that cold here in New Jersey, but it's going to be cold. And I know that my in-laws, and I've got friends that live down in Georgia, and yikes, they're in way South Georgia, and there actually is talk of snow down there. And so they're all panicking, and everything is kind of preemptively shutting down. And but yeah, I've lived in Georgia, and so I know that it gets a little crazy when the weather gets sketchy down there. People go all sorts of crazy, and they go to the grocery store and buy like every loaf of bread, every bit of toilet paper, and every gallon of milk. And I've never understood if people just make milk sandwiches and then have to use the bathroom the entire time that they're closed in their house or what. But, you know, I'm not being judgmental, just asking questions because I don't understand. I've lived in places that it's been cold a lot, and I've never felt the need to run out and buy toilet paper and bread and milk in bulk before a storm. But maybe there's a reason and I just don't know it. Yes. Oh no, Georgia. Yeah, it's happening. Oh boy. Always tons of fun. So, all right. While I was busy yakking about toilet paper and such, I forgot to tell you what I was doing. I'm stamping with Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and my friend Daryl is on here. He's the one who actually sent me this cool ink pad. It's one of the craft white ink pads that he actually didn't ink it because it comes uninked. And so it's an empty ink pad, and he inked it up with Tuxedo Black Memento ink for me. And I'm finding that I love it. The only thing I have to be careful of is that it is really inky. And so sometimes I get a little overzealous with the images if I smoosh it down into the ink too much. But I'm loving this new, the new way to do the Tuxedo Black ink pad. The other one that I have is old, and I have to like bang, bang, bang on it, twist it around and twist it around and bang on it and try to get it to ink nicely, where this one works perfectly. So thank you again, Daryl. Milk sandwich. I'm telling you, I've wondered for years what in the world people do with all of that milk and bread. It cracks me up every time, and they do it every time. So anyway, again, not being judgmental, maybe milk sandwiches are good. I just wonder what it does to the digestive system that they need so much toilet paper. So, all right. Now I'm going to be giggling about that. Okay, back on task again. So I've got the little seashell image here from the Friendly Seagulls stamp set. And I've got crumb cake ink, and we're just going to randomly stamp it here on the panel underneath my little seagull's feet. And we're going to come back in with the little sand image and kind of fill in the spaces in between. So don't worry about stamping every single bit of it. So, I know, I agree that, yeah, it's the Tuxedo Black ink pad idea was awesome. And he said, I think it was Angie McKay, I can't remember. I think that's who he said was the person who had talked about it in one of their videos. And so he decided to give it a try, and it worked great. So he sent me one, and I appreciate it. So, all right, again, just filling in kind of some spaces in between with a little bit of the sand dots, trying not to get it on my bird's feet. But if you do, oh well. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just kind of get most of it covered down there. Then I think we will go ahead. Actually, no, I'm going to color the birds first, and then we'll add the color to the bottom of it. So. Lived in Michigan all my entire life, never gone to Stockholm. I know, Jennifer, I've been the same way. I mean, I grew up in Iowa, and so there was never like this panic of having to go buy everything off the shelf. We just kind of ate what was in the fridge, and if you couldn't make it out to the store for a day or two, well, we all survived. So I don't know. I don't understand it. So, all right, I'm using gray granite Stampin' Blends marker. This is the light gray granite, and I'm coloring in the first little stripe on the bird wings with the gray granite Stampin' Blends marker. And the birds are really quick to color on here because they're seagulls, so they're mostly white seagulls, at least the ones I've seen are. So you don't really have to spend a ton of time coloring them. And then I've got dark gray granite, and that is what I'm using to color in like the feather part, the end of the wing on the birds. Gonna do that here on my bird here in the middle. And then we just have the little beaks and feet and to color with Daffodil Delight, and the birds will be all done. So they're really quick and easy to color. I have seen some people color them in completely in, like different grays, and I saw someone do one in browns and whatever. I know seagulls come in all sorts of different colors, but most of the ones I've seen are the white ones with just little touches of gray on them. So that was what I went with because, I'm kind of lazy. So, all right, gonna grab, I've got my light Daffodil Delight, and that's what we're using to color in the little feet and the beaks on my seagulls. All right, a couple more little feet over here, and one more beak, and they're kind of quacking at each other here, so that's it makes me laugh just a little bit looking at them. And then I grabbed the dark Daffodil Delight blend and colored in what I think are supposed to be French fries, or chips, I guess is what they call them over in the UK, because there's a little sentiment in the stamp set that talks about French fries. So, all right. So there we go. That is all the fantastic coloring on the birds. So, yeah, I know we definitely are used to it from being from up north, but it's still just kind of weird. I don't know. But it was amazing when I lived in Atlanta. the city really did shut down for days when it would snow or ice or anything like that, because they really don't have the equipment, and I understand that, to remove the snow. But it was like days, the roads were clear and everything else, and yeah, it was days and days of sitting at home with the kids from school, because there was like one mountain pass where somebody went, one of the kids from the school couldn't get out, and so then the whole school had to be closed, which was a little strange, but I don't know. I grew up in the country in Iowa, and on the days when the road was not passable, but the blacktop at the end of the road was, my mom would have to drive us to the end of the gravel road that I lived on to the blacktop, and we'd get on the school bus at the blacktop. So I don't know. I guess it was just a different time. So, all right, I've got Pool Party ink and a blending brush, and we're going to add just a little bit of color around the top of it to add a little bit of sky. That was kind of the thought on it, or kind of why I did it with the pool party. Is just wanted it to look a little like the sky. Didn't do a lot, didn't spend a ton of time adding a bunch of ink to it, and I'm sorry if I'm wiggling the camera a bunch. It's hard to do blending lightly on the table when I've got my camera sitting on it, so I apologize if it's wiggling a little. But just adding a little bit of Pool Party ink here around the edges. So, all right, almost done with that. But yeah, I was in Atlanta for they called it the Snowpocalypse, which was, gosh, maybe it was 10 years ago. I can't even remember exactly when it happened, but it was so bad. They actually had kids that spent the night on school buses and in schools because they couldn't get home and parents couldn't get in, and people essentially abandoned their cars. They were driving and they got stuck in the snow, or they were skidding on the ice and they couldn't drive, so they just left their car in the middle of the road, turned it off, took the keys, and walked. So it was really kind of an apocalypse. It was a total disaster down there. So again, I understand that in the South it is a little different, but still just weird to me. All right. So I probably, as I was giggling about the snow and the cold, probably didn't say this is basic white cardstock that measures about 3 inches wide by 4 1/4. And then I've got a piece of early espresso cardstock that is about 3 1/8 inches by, I keep going the wrong way, 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. And we're just going to stick these together with a little bit of Stampin' Seal. And all the measurements and all the details will be on my blog post tomorrow. There'll be a printable PDF tutorial, so you'll be able to get all the measurements right there, so don't worry about keeping track of that. And I don't know, half the time I say the 3/8 and 1/8 and whatever, and I'm wrong. The stuff that's on my blog is usually right. So, all right, and we're taking a little Stampin' Seal, and we're going to adhere that to a panel of crumb cake cardstock, and this one measures about 3 3/8 by 4 3/8. So it's a little bit wider of a border than I did in the crumb cake. And again, just sticking it together with the Stampin' Seal. Then we're going to go to the card front and stick the layered panel on the card front with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So, all right. And no worries at all, Carol. Thanks for hopping in. And all right, and I'm going to be a little bit careful. I'm going to put the Stampin' Dimensionals really high and really low. Normally I'd put them a little bit closer to the center, but I want to make sure they don't land on top of that linen thread that I've already got on my card front, so that it's not kind of funky and lumpy when I put the layered panel over the card front. And you're just going to slide this in and try to roughly center it top to bottom and side to side. Boop. And I think we will call that good. Okay. And then second to the last thing for the card front, I've got a little piece of basic white cardstock, and I've got Coastal Cabana ink, and we're going to stamp the sentiment in Coastal Cabana ink. And I don't know why I picked Coastal Cabana. It's a little bit of a brighter blue. I thought about stamping it in Pool Party ink, but I thought this one showed up a little bit better. So that's why I went with it. If you like Pool Party better, or if you want to do it in early espresso or something else that's in the background wood color, you can definitely do that. All right, I have got these Stylish Shapes dies here, and I'm just going to use the longer, narrower banner die, and I'm going to go run this through my die cutting machine. So I'll be off screen for 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. There's my little die cut sentiment, just popping that out. And when I was busy yakking about the dies early on, so you can see how it die cuts and leaves the little impression in the negatives. At least hopefully you can see it on here. I'll kind of try to tilt it a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't show up as well on the screen. But it leaves, there's a little stitch line that leaves on the negative. So if you wanted to use this, obviously you probably wouldn't because this is definitely a scrap, but if you had a larger piece and wanted to use the negative as like something to peek through on the card front, you can definitely do that. It just adds a nice little touch. Or you can just use the little die cut like I've done here. We'll grab a couple more Stampin' dimensionals. Here we go. And we're going to stick this to the card front with a couple Stampin' dimensionals. And we'll add a couple little gems here in a second. The card front's going to be all done. So it's super quick and easy, which I love. And again, the stamp set is called Friendly Seagulls. And it is available for free with an order of $60 or greater during Celebration. And don't forget, there's also that awesome joining promotion during Celebration. Where you can get, these are the party dots, and I'm going to grab a couple of the pool party dots from that, and these are new ones from the current mini catalog. So joining special, I started to yak about that. So there are two options. There's one option where you get to pick, pay $99 plus tax, it'll ship for free. And then you get to pick an additional $30. So normally you get to pick $125, but you get to pick $155 worth of Stampin' Up! Merchandise in your starter kit during Celebration. And then the second option is to do the $99, and you get to pick $125 worth of Stampin' Up! Merchandise in your starter kit. And then you get your choice of one of the four color two of the four color families Stampin' Right markers. So you can pick either the subtles, brights, regals, neutrals. You get to pick two of those. And so the Stampin' Right marker packs and a free stamp set. So that's an exclusive one to Celebration. So there are two great starter kit options. Details are on my blog, or drop me a note if you have questions about it. We'd love to have you come join our little team. So get the 20% discount for yourself. Get to pre-order from catalogs early, and you get to come hang out with us. So there you go. All right. So for the inside of the card, that's what I'm working on right now. This is a piece of basic white cardstock cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and we're just going to color the little bird the same way that we did on the card front, using the light gray granite for the first stripe on the bird's wing. And I stamped it in tuxedo black memento ink. So light gray granite for the stripe, and then the dark gray granite for the little feather end of the wing. All right, there we go. And then we're going to grab the light Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends marker, and we'll color in the beak with that. And like I said, because this is kind of a fun image, I did not spend a lot of time doing blending or anything like that. I just put the color on the paper and called it good. So, all right, stamp and seal to adhere this to the inside of the card. And we're going to be all done for today. So pretty quick and easy one, which I love. Again, I like not a lot of coloring involved in this, but it's still really cute, I think. And I love the Country Woods Designer Series paper that's kind of got, to me, the prints that I used on it are kind of, so stuck that in with Stamp and Seal, if I didn't say that. The prints in the Country Woods pack that I used, I think, reminded me of the beach. So that's why I went with those. So definitely, especially the bottom one, I think, reminds me, it totally screams beach, and to me it's beach color. So that's why I did it. So there you go. So just two fun little cards. Again, Friendly Seagulls is the name of the stamp set. It's available for free with an order of $60 or greater during Celebration from Stampin' Up. So let me know if you have questions about anything. Again, all the details for this project will be on my blog tomorrow. I'll link up and put the link directly to the blog post in the description of the video, so you can head over there anytime. It'll be up around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning Eastern time on Wednesday. So head over there anytime after that, and you'll be able to see all the details, be able to find the printable tutorial, the PDF tutorial, all the measurements, all the products that I used, all that good stuff will all be out there tomorrow. So thanks again for joining. Let me know if you have any interest in that starter kit special. It is a great deal, and it is running through the end of February, so make sure you hop on that if you are interested in joining as a demonstrator. We'd love to have you come join us. All right, thanks everybody for being here. I'll plan to be live around 2 o'clock Eastern time on Friday, and then again around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Tuesday. Chat with y'all later.